What's up, everybody? This is Colby Wood with the Medical Sales Certification Podcast. Welcome to the show, and happy Friday. I hope you guys have had a good week. In this episode, I wanted to tailor it more toward the student athletes that would be listening to this. I've kind of lived that life. I've been in your shoes. I was fortunate enough to be able to play baseball in college. Played at the University of Michigan, and I think really what I wanted to be able to communicate, and I don't know that this is gonna go well, but I feel obligated to try because I have a lot of regrets on how I handled those really formative years of my life. And as we all know, time seems to go by quicker and quicker as you get older, and you look back, and hindsight's 20/20, and I look back on those times and the time that I spent in high school and college, and I did not take advantage of the opportunities that were in front of me. And I was singularly focused on baseball, right? I always had the idea, I'm definitely going to be, a professional baseball player, no doubt. I'm going to be good enough. I'm going to be that guy. If you guys know who Bartolo Colon is, you'll appreciate it. I was going to be the guy that's 42 years old, pitching in the major leagues, big sexy. If you guys are baseball fans, you'll find that funny. I digress there. I always thought, I was going to go to the league. I'm going to play for forever, and I'm going to ride off into the sunset. Cool. That's going to be my career. Growing up, nobody ever talked to me about what is my life actually going to look like whenever my career ends. Whether it's high school or college. For me, it was college. For some people, it's professionally. You're going to go play professional baseball or football or basketball or whatever it is. At some point, that is going to come to an end. And best case scenario, you're going to play till 40 years old? And what are you going to do after that? You've got another 40 years at a minimum that you're going to be living life. And there's only so many margaritas you can drink while you're sitting on a beach. Regardless of how much money you make, at some point, you're going to get bored and say, what the hell am I going to do with my life now? Right? Like nobody that is that competitive that they're going to play until they're 40 years old, make millions of dollars. Nobody that has that approach mentally is going to ever be able to sit on a beach and drink margaritas and mimosas all day long in quote unquote retirement. Like at some point you're going to get bored and you're going to say, what the heck am I going to do with my life and my time? And so, that's what I wish somebody would have taken me by the shoulders and said, look, you really need to think this through. Because, yes, you do need to have a singular focus from your sport perspective, let's say. And by singular focus, I don't mean, let me clarify that. Singular focus meaning that, if you've seen those NCAA commercials, they're like, the majority of college athletes are going to go pro in something other than sports, right? And I was always the guy, and you're always the person that's like, well, yeah, they're talking about the other guy, not me. Like I'm going to be the 1% that makes it. Cool. You do need to have that focus if you're going to be able to make it to the next level. And so I am in full support of that. But what I would encourage you to do, and when I think back to who I was and what I did and how I spent my time outside of baseball, that's where I'm ultimately concerned with high school kids and college kids who are student athletes. Because at least from my experience, I was only focused on baseball. Like I was a brutal high school student and college student, right? Like my high school GPA was like 2.85. At not an academic powerhouse, right? I had a 2.85 GPA in high school, and I had a 2.45 GPA in college, okay? I clearly was not focused on my studies. Now, the caveat is, I also don't think that that's like the key to your long-term success and happiness. Cool, totally get that. But what I am trying to say is that there is more to life than your sport. And that's so important for young adults to realize and recognize. And, it was hard for me. I don't know that I had anybody really communicate it to me in a way that I got it. I probably had people say it to me. I'm sure I heard it, that like, hey, there's more to life than your sport, or what are you going to do after? Like, I get it. Cool. but it never actually resonated with me. It never got through my skull that, oh yeah, I probably should think about what I'm going to be doing with my life outside of athletics. Because even in a best case scenario world, I'm going to get bored. What the hell else am I going to do? And I think for me, when I think back to this, in college, let's say, let me just give you an example. In college, we worked out all the time. We had conditioning. We had practice. You can only spend so much time on your sport. Like, your body's going to break down if you go to the gym anymore or run more or throw more. Like, you're physically limited in the amount of work that you can put in on a daily basis. So somehow, doing that and going to school, I was still able to find, 2 to 4 hours a day to play video games. Like, there's time in the day to focus and spend time and hours pursuing other things of interest to you. And it's cool. I get it. You want to play video games. You want to hang out with your friends. College especially, it's, for most kids, it was for me, first opportunity out of the house. You have freedom. You want to take advantage of that. You're kind of figuring out who you are. You're hanging out with friends. You're having a good time. Cool. Got it. I'm fully on board with that. What I am trying to communicate, though, is that it wasn't until after college, literally until the spring of my 5th year senior year, that I realized, hey, this baseball thing is not going to work out. When I was drafted out of high school by the Detroit Tigers, and I wanted to go to college, so I went to college. I had an opportunity to sign with the Chicago Cubs as a free agent after my junior year. Decided I want to come back for a senior year. Came back for my 4th year senior year. In the fall, I had the MLB scouting director for the Midwest. I sat down with him in our baseball stadium, and he told me that I was his number 1 pitcher in the Midwest. So I'm, in my 4th year senior year, about to go into the season, and the MLB scouting director said, you're my number 1 pitcher in the Midwest by rankings. And I go into my senior year, 4th year senior year, and I end up having shoulder surgery. So then I come back for a 5th year, and I suck. And so in the blink of an eye, I went from, not on top of the world, but, number 1 pitcher in the Midwest, even as a senior. If you know anything about baseball and the draft, when you go into college, if you forego going directly to the minor leagues right out of high school, you have to go to college for a minimum of 2 years. And you can get drafted again after your 2nd year if you are 21 years old by the time of the draft. Or you're able to get drafted after your junior year. And so sophomores and juniors who are drafted have a lot more leverage. So I wouldn't have had a ton of leverage being a senior. So, I might have been a decently high draft pick. I'm going to make it to the pros. I'm going to be playing pro ball, and then who knows what can happen from there. To shoulder surgery,